For the next section, skills, I went to the University of Southern California's social work website and found 10 qualities that make up a great social worker. For this, we're going to only share a few and how it relates to my practice at Brookside School. Let's start with empathy. I think empathy is maybe my best skill as a social worker in the placement of Brookside School because I have been through the process myself. I know what accommodations is like, and I know what the process is like for parents being in my own board meeting. So I can empathize with both the parents, knowing what it takes to fight and advocate for your student, and for the kids, because life isn't fair and you're going to have to work harder if you're a person with developmental disabilities like myself. The next step also works with this because it's self-awareness. I think this took me a little bit to recognize because I like to give my own examples, but it's all about the clients. And my client's experience is not the same as my experience. I come from a rich town in Jersey, and some of them come from Kingston and Ellenville that are not that as well off, and they can't afford some of these assistive technologies. So I must be aware of my own disabilities and my own standing to be a better social worker for them and understand that, listen, I have trouble reading, here's Read and Write Gold. Maybe they can't afford that, and maybe the program can afford that, so I need to be aware that not all programs are equal and not everyone's going to have the opportunity to go to private schools like myself. The next skill that they list is being an active listener, which is very important in preschool because not everyone you can understand. Some kids have some speech impediments and they often get ignored or asked to do things twice. Even if I don't understand a child, I'll get bits and pieces and try to be an active listener and repeat something that I understood about the sentence, because it's stressful when you work so hard to speak and no one understands you and you hate repeating yourself. I've been in that situation, so I try to be an active listener, and whenever they speak, I try to pay full attention so I can get at least something out of it. The next step and skill is organization. If you know me, I'm very unorganized, but Michelle really helps me out on organization. She has a list of clients and a list of skills that need to be worked on through her IEPs, and through organization, we're able to develop plans like, first we're going to work on the client not bringing a toy to the office. Then in the next 2 weeks, we're going to try to remove it from the car, transporting to school. Then we're going to try to remove the item because it takes time and you need an organized plan for each child, because people with developmental disabilities love structure. And if something is not structured, their minds are going to be scrambled and it's going to cause chaos. So being organized on their behalf is very important. That's why after every session in play therapy, we had to put back the toys, because if a child with ADHD comes in, they're going to scramble for everything because it's not an organized session and you don't have one task after another. Say, we're going to play Pop the Pig, then we're going to play Operation. They can't do that if there's toys all over the place because their mind is going to run wild. The next two are cooperation and coordination. I think this is really important to Brookside because there are other elements besides play therapy. There's speech therapy, occupational therapy, so we need to be working on the same skills. So, for example, one of our clients walks on her tippy toes. I believe like almost half the sessions we tell her to put her heels down, and we work in cooperation because it's not just the play skills that they need the occupational skills, they need the physical skills to move on to the next level. So if we don't work as a team with the teachers and the other specialists, the children are not going to be able to move on to that next step. And especially with children with disabilities, everything needs to be reinforced. So we show both those skills by reinforcing the things that they learn in class and in the other specialties. And the last one is persuasion And I think that one is important because not all children are going to want to improve, and they're just going to want to be set in their own things. For example, in my literature review, one child had the same issue, that he felt comfort within the diaper and he doesn't want to improve. So you have to be persistent and say, listen, if you want this, and this, you need to move on. You need to learn, and you also need to go at their pace. So you got to meet the client where they're at. So persuasion is a trick that most social workers need to know to be able to develop a plan where the client feels that they're ready to move on to the next step.